with Noah Winland, the lucky shed hunter that was able to pick up double beam sheds this year. And just wanted to talk a little bit about him and the uniqueness of this buck. This is his right side, I believe, right? And
Yep,
it's hard to distinguish, obviously, yeah, his right side.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest on record anyway, as far as shed antlers go for a non-typical mule deer. Its score is what was that score on this one?
156 and 7/8 is what it measured out as.
156 and 7/8.
Mm-hmm.
When he was in velvet, actually, he had a sack hanging down right here, which a lot of people thought was a club, and it was actually a part of his antler, which it wasn't. When he shed his velvet, he actually lost that blood sac, and it was hanging off in this vicinity right here. It actually wasn't anywhere near the end of the drop of this drop tine that kind of hung down on the side of his face, and so that he lost that blood sac there, which a lot of people thought was a tine. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then his left side there, what was that score on that one?
This guy's at 111 inches, and obviously completely different from the right side.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a double beam going on, but it's a crazy antler in itself, completely unique, but not 156 inches. I mean, that one's the G whiz, like it's.
Yeah. Obviously, his name, whatever they name it, double beam, and he actually, it's not, he doesn't have two beams. He does have one base, so it's not actually two different beams.
Right. Yeah, they don't come on the different pedicles. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll show those pedicles there. Those are pretty big.
Yeah. Very.
And so yeah, the day that you found him. I was actually there in the vicinity, so was a buddy of mine and a couple other people too. That's for sure. And my buddy Grant, he called me up, and it was about 3:30, and he called me up and he said, "Well, double beam hit the ground," and we've actually heard that a couple times before that day, and a couple people saying it on the internet and whatnot. So. I was like, "Oh, are you sure this time? Like, really?" And so, and that, it was for sure. Noah called Grant, and so I was, I work about 25 miles away from where this particular buck was residence at, and I drove those 25 miles, and at 95 miles an hour, my truck was hitting the governor, and I was going, so. Yeah, we got down there about 4:30 and started looking, my buddy Grant and I, and then actually ran into Noah. And
mm-hmm.
What time was that?
Yeah, that was probably about 5 o'clock when I finally saw you guys, because I went and I'd been looking for probably 3 hours before that, and I texted Grant and I was like, "Just tell me you have him, dude. Like, I just wanted to know that somebody had him, because our worst fears is that somebody puts them in their garage and we never see him. You know? To spend that much time looking at this deer's antlers and then not getting to hold them would just be terrible. I mean, everybody that shed hunts that is watching a particular animal just wants to be able to see him at least. But yeah, so anyways, that was about 5 o'clock when I finally ran into you guys, and I would say there was some anxiety and some, mixed emotions going on. We were all giddy to at least see him, and
none of us thought, all of us thought that they were already picked up,
right.
and we conversated amongst each other, and honestly, we would have left earlier that day on an elk shed trip if it had not have been for your text and whatnot, and we kind of called it quits early that day, and right after we ran into you, and so we headed down south to find elk antlers.
Right.
Well, that was a bad idea.
Go back and do it again.
Yeah, I'd have stayed that day. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like
after we left, what happened?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, there's so much area, that it could be in, and there's so much area that that's private property that you kind of just have to
scoot around a little bit.
Yeah, right. But anyways, I went and grabbed a bite, and I still had couple hours of daylight left, so you know, there were times when this deer would disappear, and you know that thought's running through your head. Well, maybe you know that's where he went and dropped. His antler.
Yeah. He disappeared for weeks at a time,
Right.
and you know, and everybody be looking for him and whatnot. And I mean, he just disappeared totally, and you couldn't find him anywhere.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there he was again,
Yeah.
antlers and all. You know, everybody thought, oh, he shed. That's the buck. That's him right there. You know, and you know, you would see a buck that had shed, and you know, with big bases and whatnot, but it just didn't have the characteristics that double beam has.
Such a distinguishable face.
Baby face.
Yeah.
A little baby face, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, so you know, I saw him that morning, even at 11 o'clock. You know, my heart just sunk. It was like, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like you knew the day was coming, but how do you prepare yourself for it? And you look all over, and you know, I probably had a 5% chance in my mind that I'd find them, but I was pretty much just like you. You know, if I would have had an elk hunting or a shed hunting trip to go to, I probably would have went, but didn't have anything going on that night, so I thought I'd look a little bit more, you know, and
good thing you did.
good thing I did, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're awesome sheds. His total score is 240 and 5/8, correct?
Yep.
240 and 5/8 net, and then
270 gross.
That's with the spread.
That's without a spread.
Without a spread, 270
Right.
gross. Okay. Yeah, so 240 net.
So maybe he's, you know, 290, 295, something like that with a gross and
Gross.
spread. Yeah. Pretty close to 300, which was a lot of people's guess, somewhere between 270 and 300.
Yeah.
But
Well, there you have it. That's double beam right there, and we're looking forward to looking for the sheds this year. Maybe if he sticks around, we got some footage and some video of him this year growing already. He's alive and well and kind of, you know, kicking. So
it'll be interesting to see what he does.
it'll be a fun year for sure. We'll get
Yeah.
some pictures going, and it was fun. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's good. The emotions going through, you know, my head and my body are absolutely out of this world. You know, I had adrenaline that I've never experienced before as I'm walking up to it, you know, and my actual legs got a little bit weak because, you know, you obviously are never going to find anything like this in your life, and it's a once in a lifetime find. You know, I pictured finding him probably 5 or 6 times in my dream, and to actually walk up on something this unique and this, you know, world famous almost is hard to put into words, really. You know, it's just once in a lifetime deal, and it's been an experience ever since. So this is the second side. It was sitting just like this. You know, I saw probably about that much of it sticking up out of the grass, probably 20, 30 yards away, and knew it was the other side, you know, and I thought I'd look for the other side, but for that, you know, with that many people looking for this particular deer, you know, I thought maybe, you know, I might have a good chance of finding it, but at the same time, I wasn't hard pressed and you know, super gung ho about finding the other side. I thought maybe, you know, I probably had a 50% chance of finding it, but anyways, it was sitting up just like this. Walked up to it and couldn't believe it. You know, I was hard pressed to figure out which one, you know, I had more adrenaline for. Was it finding the one side or finding the set? You know, and still don't know. Obviously, it's amazing to have both sides to deer that's this unique and this crazy of a rack. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
Okay, my name is Ron Newman. I'm an official measurer for North American Shed Hunters, which is becoming quite a record book. When Noah found these antlers, he called me and asked me if I would score them for him, and as you can see, we did. But I'll tell you something. I was excited when he called and talked to me about it, because scoring this thing is just unbelievable. When you do a radical set of horns like this, the first thing you got to do is try and figure out the main frame, you know, the typical frame, which we figured out came up here. Okay, and then you had the branch here, like a mule deer has, and then this would be the other point here. your G4. But once that's established, all the other junk, as they call it, is all non-typical. And this thing has a lot of junk, which I think is awesome. And the same with this, the left side here, which is kind of got cheated. But this,
Probably a little more difficult on that one, huh?
yeah, this one here, I think this we called the main beam here. So that was your main beam or your typical frame, and then everything else was junk. And score from there. But it was exciting to do it. I really enjoyed scoring it, and Noah did good. He did super. He got himself a heck of a set of horns, double beam.
Yeah.
Good going.
Thanks, Ron.